So after a shocking turn of events in which the Dallas Mavericks won both of the Clippers' home games, the LA Clippers came back and won both of the Mavericks' home games. And so we find ourselves going into a Game 5 tied 2-2. This is probably one of the most important games for the Clippers in franchise history. So let me explain. Now, the thing to remember about this team is that they've had a lot of expectations coming into last season and coming into this season, and when they didn't meet those expectations last season, when they got taken to 6 by a hobbled Luka Doncic without Kristaps Porzingis, and then blew a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets in the second round, the slander that we saw was unbelievable. And it's mainly just because the outcome of that series, that should have been a fantasy. And speaking of fantasy, that's also the main idea of the app that's sponsoring today's video, which is FanDuel. FanDuel is one of the biggest sports betting and daily fantasy apps in the world right now, with everything from traditional sports betting to snake drafts to daily lineup building contests. With cash prizes of up to $100,000 for first place, they have everything you could ever need. And if building lineups isn't your strong suit, they also have a built-in lineup optimizer to help you make your picks. If basketball isn't your thing, there are also a variety of sports to choose from on the app, from football to hockey to baseball. And if you maybe don't have the money to participate, there are also a handful of free contests that you can enter daily, so you'll never feel left out. If FanDuel is an app that interests you, you can sign up for an account using the link in the description and the pinned comment in the comment section below. Alright, so back to what we were talking about. The Clippers responded by getting rid of Doc Rivers, moving Tyronn Lue to head coach, and picking up extra pieces such as Serge Ibaka and Nicholas Batum. And so, the Clippers again came into the season with high expectations, and throughout most of the season, they were meeting those expectations, but the thing to remember is that that's the same thing that happened last season. And with Kawhi and Paul George missing a handful of games due to injury, and Serge Ibaka missing extensive time due to injury, we didn't really know what to expect out of this team come playoff time. But those questions were answered when they were all back and healthy, and the Clippers decided to tank in order to avoid the Lakers in the first round. Now, I never understood this decision, because the way that the Lakers are right now, they are so vulnerable right now. There was no reason to avoid the Lakers in the first round, because you had LeBron James coming off of an ankle injury, which he missed almost 2 months for, and you had Anthony Davis coming off of his Achilles injury, which he missed a lot of time for. So I don't understand the decision there, but that's what happened. And so with the Clippers deciding, hey, at least we got Dallas instead of the Lakers, the Dallas Mavericks respond by handing them 2 L's on their home court. And then they come into game 3 and go down by 20 points in the first quarter, led by Luka Doncic, who wasn't even hitting the rim. He was literally skipping into shots. He wasn't taking this team seriously. But the Clippers did end up fighting all the way back and went on to win the game, despite Luka's 44 points. But what also happened to Luka in the game is that he injured his shoulder, or neck, or whatever the hell they're calling it. So he came out game 4 clearly just not, he wasn't Luka. There's no way around it. He wasn't Luka. He wasn't the same Luka Doncic that we had seen in the first 2 games and 2.5 games of the series. And so you have that, and then you have Tim Hardaway getting injured towards the end of the game where he fell on his back, but that one didn't look as serious. So now you come back to game 5, tied 2-2, back to your home floor, and keep in mind the home team hasn't won a single game in the series, so this is very important. Combined with the fact that it's a 2-2 game 5. You need to win this game. The odds of you winning the series if you win game 5 tied 2-2 go up exponentially. I believe it's something like an 82% win rate for the team that wins game 5 when the series is tied 2-2. They go on to win the series. It's still possible to win the series if you lose game 5, but I wouldn't count on that, especially from this Clippers team, because after last season, I have learned my lesson to never, under any circumstances, have faith in the Clippers. But that's not all, because if you lose game 5, that also means that you have an 82% chance to lose the series in the first round. Do you know what this means? Because I hate talking about player movement and, all that stuff in the middle of the playoffs, but this needs to be talked about because it's a very real possibility. Kawhi Leonard has a player option this offseason. He can very easily, especially if he keeps putting up the numbers that he's putting up right now, and they get first rounded. If Kawhi gets first rounded at putting up 35 points on, I think, 63% shooting from the field and 48% from 3, Kyrie. Like, he's doing all he can right now. If he loses in the first round with that, I don't see him coming back to this team because of what happened last season and now this, because this is worse. And so you have that. Now, the reason that I say that it's important for the Clippers franchise in general is because what happens to Paul George if Kawhi Leonard opts out of his contract? Because I don't know. Like, if you can't win with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on this team, then I don't think that you're going to be able to do anything of value with Paul George and a bunch of role players. Like, I don't see that happening. So what does Paul George do now? Because he signed that huge extension, does he now decide to request a trade? And do the Clippers blow it up? Like, I don't know what happens to this team if they lose in the first round, which is a very real possibility. And so when you think about it like that, you start to realize why I'm saying that this game is so important, not just for the series, but for the future of the franchise. Because think about how many draft picks they traded away to get Paul George, on top of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is looking amazing in OKC, and Danilo Gallinari. You trade away all those assets for Paul George to team up with Kawhi Leonard, and it results in a second round exit after a blown 3-1 lead, and a first round exit. Even if they make it past the first round, then they'll likely be playing Utah, which I don't see them winning that series. Oh my god. This is bad, because even then, I have no idea how this Clippers franchise is gonna handle getting sent home in the second round again, even if it's Utah. I mean, like, that's not ideal. I mean, you put this team together, you talk all that shit, and then you get second rounded 2 years in a row?
Talk to us! Prices just went up. Don't talk to us! Don't talk to us!
Oh, looks like my boy is coming with me to LA. Where we going, cuz?
We coming home.
We coming home, cuz.
Like, I have no idea what the direction of the franchise would be if that were to happen, which I think that might be the direction that this team is heading, but that's about enough for me. I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this Clippers franchise is on the line in Game 5? Do you think that if they were to lose Game 5 that they can still win the series because they do still have home court advantage, with Game 5 and 7 being at home if they were to force a Game 7? Also, what do you think would happen with free agency? Because that's another huge factor in this series. So let me know what you think. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new, hit the bell to be notified when I upload, comment down below what you want to see next, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.